Good evening, all of you. Let us now move on to the different thermosetting polymers. So far you have seen the difference between thermoplastics and thermosetting plastics. Now we can move on to thermosetting polymers, and also here you have to study the synthesis, then some of the properties and applications of these thermosetting polymers. And these thermosetting polymers, you have to study these 5 categories. The first one, that is the phenolic resins. First one, phenolic resins. Then second one, you have to study, that is the amino resins. Phenolic resins, then amino resins. Then the third one, that is polyurethanes. Polyurethanes. Then the fourth one, epoxy resins. Epoxy resins. And the fifth one, silicone resins. So you have to study the preparation and some of the examples for all these categories: phenolic resins, amino resins, polyurethanes, epoxy resins and silicone resins. So first of all, we have to go through this phenolic resins. Phenolic resins. Phenolic resins. See here, this phenolic resins, they are condensation products. Condensation products means water will be eliminated, isn't it? Or any one product will be eliminated. So these are this phenolic resins, or otherwise it is called as phenoplast. Phenolic resins or phenoplast. They are condensation products, and also these condensation products means the reactants will be sometimes it can be phenol or it can be resorcinol. Phenol or resorcinol with aldehydes. Phenol and resorcinol with aldehydes. That gives this phenolic resins. Okay, so the general reactant will be a phenol or a resorcinol plus aldehydes. Then you have to study one important member of this particular group, that is phenolic resins, that is bakelite. You might have heard of this bakelite. Bakelite, this is one phenol formaldehyde resin. Bakelite is an example for phenol formaldehyde resin. That means the reagents used here are phenol and formaldehyde. Okay, that by the condensation of phenol with formaldehyde in the presence of a catalyst, in the presence of an alkaline catalyst at very high temperature and very high pressure. Okay, so the reaction between what are the conditions here for the preparation of bakelite? Phenol plus formaldehyde, HCHO, plus an alkaline catalyst at high temperature and pressure. At high temperature and pressure. Okay, so these are the this is the method of preparation for bakelite. Okay, now let us write the reaction. Phenol, first of all you have to write phenol, C6H5OH, plus formaldehyde, HCHO. Formaldehyde in the presence of a catalyst, an alkaline catalyst. In the presence of an alkaline catalyst, so the products will be obtained. That means at this position, at the ortho position and para position, benzyl alcohol group will be introduced. Okay, that means CH2OH group will be introduced at the ortho and para positions. That means see here one hydrogen is present. See here we can write this as HCHO, isn't it? HCH, then double bond O. So this electron pair, this double bond will be shifting to this oxygen atom, so that this carbon will be getting a positive charge and oxygen will be getting a negative charge, isn't it? So we can write it as CH2 plus single bond O minus, isn't it? So at this O minus, what happens? This hydrogen will be attacking to this O minus. Okay, so what happens? It becomes OH group. So here CH2 plus, so this position it will be having a negative charge, because hydrogen will be removed as a proton, isn't it? So this carbon will be getting a negative charge. So at this position, what happens? This CH2 plus will be joining. Okay, at this carbon atom, this CH2 group will be joining and the hydrogen will be attacking at the O minus. Okay, so the product will be like this. You have to study the product. I am writing this mechanism just for your information. Okay, so the product is like this, C6H5OH. Then at this position what happens? CH2OH, isn't it? At this position CH2OH. So this is ortho hydroxy. That means at the ortho position one OH group is there. So ortho hydroxy, this is benzyl alcohol, isn't it? C6H5CH2OH means it is benzyl alcohol. Okay, so this part as a whole it is benzyl alcohol, C6H5CH2OH, and at the ortho position of the CH2OH one OH group is attached. So we can call it as ortho hydroxy benzyl alcohol. Ortho hydroxy benzyl alcohol, plus another product is para hydroxy benzyl alcohol. OH, then CH2OH, para hydroxy benzyl alcohol. Para hydroxy benzyl alcohol. Okay, so this is the product. Okay, so here we got it as ortho hydroxy and para hydroxy benzyl alcohol. Then this will be reacting with, so here OH group is there, so this compound will be reacting with a phenol to form this Novolac, a polymer named as Novolac. Okay, then we can go through the reaction of the for the preparation of Novolac. Okay, Novolac. So this ortho hydroxy benzyl alcohol, that means the reagent we can write it like this, C6H5OH, then CH2OH, ortho hydroxy benzyl alcohol plus phenol. It will be condensing with a phenol, C6H5OH. Okay, so at this position one hydrogen. So here condensation reaction. Then the next compound we can write this ortho hydroxy benzyl alcohol, again OH. I am writing the CH2OH at this position. Okay, ortho hydroxy benzyl alcohol again, plus again OH, then again OH group, at this position hydrogen, then at this position CH2OH. Okay, so here condensation takes place like this, OH, then again from this position HOH, then from this position HOH, like that it goes on. Okay, so water molecules will be eliminated and it becomes a linear polymer. So we can write the structure, C6H5OH, then single bond CH2, then this bond, isn't it? Then again another benzene ring with OH, then another CH2 group, isn't it? Water is eliminated, so another CH2 group, then OH, then again this CH2 group, water is eliminated, again at this position OH, like that it goes on. So this is a linear polymer, a straight polymer, isn't it? It's a linear polymer, no branches are there, and this compound it is Novolac. Okay, so this Novolac, it is an example for a phenol formaldehyde resin. And again, while during this process, while during the formation of this Novolac, if we are adding hexamethylene tetramine, okay, during the formation of this Novolac, if we are adding hexamethylene tetramine, what happens is that this Novolac will be converting into a soluble, then fusible solid. It will be converting to a soluble, fusible solid. A hard mass will be obtained, and this solid, it will be having a cross-linked structure. The solid will be having a cross-linked structure. Okay, so here first of all you have to draw the ortho hydroxy and para hydroxy benzyl alcohol, that is the condensation of phenol with formaldehyde. Then the next is, by using this ortho hydroxy benzyl alcohol, we are preparing Novolac, which will be this ortho hydroxy benzyl alcohol is reacting with phenol, and therefore a linear polymer is formed, and that linear polymer it is Novolac. And again, during the formation of this, or during this molding process, or during the polymerization reaction, while we are adding hexamethylene tetramine to this compound, what happens? This novolac will be converted to a soluble fusible solid, and it will be having a cross-linked structure. Okay, then we have to write the cross-linked structure also. Then the cross-linked structure of this novolac, and it will be like this: C6H5, then OH, then CH2. First of all, you have to draw that linear one, then OH, then CH2, then OH, CH2, like that. Okay, so here this is formed by the condensation of phenol with orthohydroxybenzyl alcohol, isn't it? Then again, while using hexamethylene diamine, here we are using a combination of this parahydroxy compound also, parahydroxybenzyl alcohol also. So the linear polymer, the structure, it will be like this: CH2, then OH. At the para position there will be an OH, then again CH2, OH, sorry, at this position OH, then CH2, again this position OH, then again CH2, like that. So this is a three-dimensional cross-linked system, isn't it? So here it is joined by a CH2 bond. Okay. So this is a cross-linked structure. So this cross-linked structure of novolac, it is obtained by adding this hexamethylene tetramine during the molding process. Okay. Then the next is we have to go through some of the properties of bakelite. Properties of bakelite. This bakelite, it is a rigid, hard and scratch resistant substance. The properties, I think it will be given in the notes. You can read it. Okay, I am not writing it here. It's a waste of time. You can go through the properties of these compounds. Okay. Then just for the namesake, I will be saying this bakelite. It is a rigid, hard, scratch resistant substance. See, normally you have seen this bakelite. It is the a substance which is used in the electrical insulator parts. That means in the switches and plugs, etc. we have seen this bakelite. That hard substance, that is bakelite. Okay, so they are used in insulator parts, just like in the switches, plugs, etc., heater handles, etc. So it is a very hard, water resistant, then infusible solid, and also it will be resistant to some of the non-oxidizing acids, etc. Okay, so some of the uses of this particular compound, say I will show you this notes, that will be easy. See, bakelite, rigid, hard, scratch resistant, infusible, water resistant, insoluble solids, resistant to non-oxidizing acid, salt, etc. But attacked by alkalis due to the presence of free OH group. See, OH group is present, isn't it? So it is attacked by alkalis. They possess excellent electrical insulating character. And then next we can go through the uses. It is used for making electrical insulator parts like switches, plugs, switchboards, heater handles, etc. You know. Then the next point, it is used for making molded articles like telephone parts, cabinets for radio and TV. So you can assume how hard it is, isn't it? Then the next one, for impregnating fabrics, wood and paper. That is for making some prints. Imprints in the case of fabrics, woods, etc. Then it is used as adhesive for grinding wheels, then used in paints and varnishes, then for making bearings, used in propeller shafts for paper industry and rolling mills. Okay, so these are some of the uses. So you have to study the preparation, then the properties, and also uses. This will be asked. All these will be asked. Okay. So this is the first one, that is the phenol formaldehyde resins. Then the second one, that is the amino resins. Second one, amino resins. Amino resins. See, this amino resins, again, they are also condensation products. Just like the phenol formaldehyde resin, They are also condensation products, and also they are obtained by the reaction between urea or melamine, obtained by the reaction between urea or melamine with formaldehyde. Obtained by the reaction between urea or melamine with formaldehyde. And the important class of this amino resins, that is the urea formaldehyde resins. Urea formaldehyde resins. The previous one for phenolic resins, the important one is phenol formaldehyde resin. Then for this amino resins, it is urea formaldehyde resin. That class forms an important part of this amino resins. Next is the preparation of this urea formaldehyde resin. See here, what will be the reactants? Urea will be combining with formaldehyde, isn't it? And also this combination or this reaction will be happening in a ratio 2:1, and also in basic medium. So these are the two conditions. The ratio of phenol and formaldehyde, it will be 2:1, and in basic medium. And it will be carried out at a temperature of 50 degrees Celsius. Okay, so let us write the reaction. So first of all, you have to write urea, NH2CO NH2, isn't it? NH2CO NH2, this is urea, plus formaldehyde. Formaldehyde, I am writing it like this, HCH double bond O. Okay, so this reaction taking place at 50 degree basic medium, that is alkaline medium. Then this electron pair will be shifting to oxygen atom, so that O will be getting negative charge and carbon will be getting a positive charge. Okay, again what happens from this NH2 I am writing it as HNH. Okay, so this hydrogen will be removed as a proton from this NH, and this hydrogen will be joining this oxygen atom. Okay, O minus. So that the product becomes NH2, NH2CO NH CH2OH. Okay, this carbon will be joining this NH group. So the product will be, I'm writing it as like this, CO, then at this position no change, NH2 group, it is written as such, NH2, then at this portion it becomes NH, then CH2, then O minus, this hydrogen proton will be abstracted by this O minus, so that it becomes NHCH2OH. Okay, then again it will be condensing with another molecule of formaldehyde. Okay, HCHO. Again similar reaction. So what happens? Here formaldehyde will be added, or this group will be added to this NH2 group. Okay, so that this group will be converted to NHCH2OH. Okay, so this compound is monomethylol urea, and again the second compound, again on reaction with formaldehyde, it will be CO, then NH, CH2OH. Again here also this NH2 group is converted to NHCH2OH, just as in the previous mechanism. Okay, so this compound is dimethylol urea. Okay, dimethylol urea. Then the next is the polymerization reaction, or the formation of this urea formaldehyde resin. So for the polymerization, this particular compound, that is dimethylol urea, will be condensing. Okay, so let us write the reaction. Dimethylol urea, that is NHCH2OH, isn't it? NHCH2OH, CO, NHCH2OH, and I am writing it like this. That is NHCH2OH, then CO, then NHCH2OH. Okay, plus another molecule of dimethylol urea. This is dimethylol urea, which is written in another format. Okay, there is no change in the compound, plus another molecule of NHCH2OH, then CO, then NHCH2OH, plus NHCH2OH, then CO, NHCH2OH. Okay, So this will be polymerizing together to form the urea formaldehyde resin. Here also condensation takes place. So from this group OH and from this portion hydrogen will be eliminated. Here also one molecule of water will be eliminated like this. Then from this position also it will be like this HOH. From this position also water will be eliminated. So this OH will be combining with another molecule of dimethylol urea. Here also this hydrogen will be going to or condensing with another molecule of dimethylol urea. Okay, so the product we can write it like this, N. Here you have to put one N, isn't it? N, CH2, then CO. Just join all these groups. Okay, N, CH2. Then here it is NCH2, isn't it? NCH2. Then for this N1CO group, then for CON, then here it is joined, isn't it? CH2N. Then CH2. Here again NCH2, CO, N, CH2, isn't it? NCH2, then CH2. So this is the compound. So this is urea formaldehyde resin. Urea formaldehyde resin. Okay, so this is the compound. So you have to study this also. So first step, that is the reaction between urea and formaldehyde. Then we will be having monomethylol urea and dimethylol urea. Then the different number of so many number of dimethylol urea will be condensing to form urea formaldehyde resin. Next is we can go through some of the properties of this urea formaldehyde resin. Okay, I am not writing the properties once again. Properties. So here properties, urea formaldehyde resins gives clear water white products of good tensile strength, then good electrical insulation. Good tensile strength means it is not easily breakable, isn't it? Then good electrical insulation, then good chemical resistance, great hardness, good aberration resistance, etc. Okay, so these are some of the properties of urea formaldehyde resins. Clear water white products, isn't it? Clear water white products, good tensile strength, good electrical insulation, good chemical resistance, great hardness, good aberration, etc. Okay, good aberration resistance, etc. Then the next is uses of this urea formaldehyde resin. It is used as adhesive in grinding wheels. Then adhesive means it is used as a for sticking the grinding wheels. Okay. Then it is used as a binder of glass fibers, rock wool, etc., which are used for filtration and insulation purposes. Then it is used in cation exchangers, then for bonding plywood, electrical insulation, then decorative articles like plates, drinking glasses, dishes, etc. Okay, so these are some of the uses of this particular compound. Okay, I will be uploading the notes also, then you can take all these. So these are the properties and uses of this urea formaldehyde resin. You have to study this also. Then the next is another urea formaldehyde resin, that is the melamine formaldehyde resin. First one we studied, that is the urea formaldehyde resin. Then the another one, that is melamine formaldehyde resin. Melamine formaldehyde resin. See here, this melamine formaldehyde resin, it is prepared by condensing melamine with formaldehyde at a temperature of 80 degrees Celsius by the combination of melanin and formaldehyde at 80 degrees Celsius. Okay, next we can see what is melamine. It is a very nice compound to write the structure of this particular compound, melamine. Okay, see a benzene ring, and in the first, third and positions it will be having an NH2 group. Okay, first, then third and fifth position it will be having NH2 group. Okay, it's a symmetric compound, melamine. Then again in the 2, 4 and 6 positions, at the 2, 4 and 6 positions it will be having nitrogen. Okay, so this is the structure of melamine. So the compound we can write it like this. This is 1,3,5 triazine. Name of this compound, 1,3,5 triazine. Then 2,4,6 triamine. 135 triazine. That means at the first, third and fifth position, this is 1, this is 3, this is 5. If we are numbering it like this, okay, 1, 3, 5, then 2, 4 and 6 positions. Okay, so at the 1, 3 and 5 positions, there will be 3 nitrogen atoms. So azine, if nitrogen is coming, it will be azo group, isn't it? Since 3 nitrogens, it is triazine. Then in the 2, 4 and 6 positions, it will be having NH2 groups. Okay, so 3 NH2 group. So this is the compound 135 triazine. 2,4,6 triamine. This is the name of this particular compound. So this will be condensing with formaldehyde, HCHO. Okay, again what happens is that this NH2 group will be condensing with this formaldehyde. That means the mechanism will be like this, HCHO, isn't it? HCH double bond O. This electron pair will be shifting like this. So one of the hydrogens will be attacking this O minus, and it becomes OH group, isn't it? And this NH will be attacking this positively charged carbon atom. Okay. So after this reaction, the product will be like this. So at this position, it becomes, this group will be converted to NHCH2OH. So I am writing the compound. At this position, NHCH2OH. Okay. Then at these positions, all the nitrogens will be retained. Then at these positions, NH2 group. At these two positions, NH2 group. Okay. So this is a linear polymer. Linear polymer. And again, if we are using excess of this formaldehyde, we will be having a cross-linked polymer. So let us write the cross-linked polymer also. If we are using excess of formaldehyde, HCHO. Okay. So the product will be like this. NH, see here NH2, then here N, here NH2, then N. Okay, so this NHCH2, this will be combining with another molecule of this another linear polymer, isn't it? So that here one more group, that is OHCH2 NH, another this particular compound will be coming, so that water will be condensing, isn't it? Water will be removing or water will be eliminating, so that means I will be writing that formula also, OHCH2 NH, then this particular part. So this water will be eliminated, so that we will be having NHCH2O CH2, then again NH, isn't it? So we can write it like this, NHCH2, then the remaining part O, then CH2, then again NH, then this remaining benzene ring, etc. N, NH2, NH2. Okay. So this is the compound. See, sometimes if another polymer it is present here, what happens? Another this monomer is present here. What happens here? Also it becomes NHCH2O NH, like that it goes on. Okay, so I will be writing that also. So here condensation takes place and NH, it will be like this, CH2, the same repetition. Okay, O, then again CH2, then again NH, then again this ring. N, then NH2, NH2. Okay. So if we again condensation takes place at this NH portion, what happens here? It becomes NH, etc. Here also if condensation takes place, it will be the repetition of these part. Okay. So this is the melamine formaldehyde resin. Okay. So here condensation takes place between melamine and formaldehyde at 80 degrees Celsius. Melamine is 135 triazine, 246 triamine. It's a single name. Okay. 135 triazine, then 246 triamine. Okay. 135 triazine, 3 nitrogens, 246, 3 NH2 groups. Okay. So this is the melamine formaldehyde resin. Next is we have to go through some of the properties of this melamine formaldehyde resin. See, coming to the properties, melamine formaldehyde resin, it is better than urea formaldehyde resin with respect to water, heat, chemical resistance, hardness and tensile strength. So it is more beneficial than urea formaldehyde resin. Okay, much more complex structure it is having, isn't it? So it will be more harder. Then the next is uses. It is used in surface adhesives, fabric treatment, paper industry, to remove the wet strength of paper. Okay. For paper industry, then plywood industry, decorative laminates, etc. That means decorative laminates means it is used in light shades in order to have a clear light shades. So these are some of the uses of melamine formaldehyde resins. So next group, that is the polyurethanes, that we can discuss in our next video. Okay, thank you.